This is Mo Bashir for The Hook. I am delighted to be joined by Kate Abdo.
Kate Scott now.
Kate Scott, I'm so
Yes,
sorry.
married name.
I'm so sorry. I am so sorry. Firstly, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. Just got to watch the press conference. Obviously, my husband trains Ezra Taylor, so I was excited to be here.
Nice. Nice. Were you a boxing fan growing up, or is it like since you've been with your husband, you've been introduced to the sport and now it's something that you've taken an interest in, or is it something you've been interested in as you were growing up?
It was before Malik for sure. So I guess I would say I grew up in like a really sporty family. My parents were both PE teachers. Football was like the main sport in the household, but we watched anything that was like a big sporting event, and that probably was just what boxing was for me for a while. Was just like big sporting events that I would tune into, but I didn't watch like the nitty gritty in between. And then eventually I got an opportunity when I was working at Sky Sports to host my first fight, just because they were looking to put a different host on there. And since then I got the bug, and I've loved it ever since. And now I watch everything, every single fight, anything I can. I can't consume enough of it. So it wasn't necessarily something I grew up being a huge fan of, but it's been, I don't know, maybe 20 years now. And yeah, I love the sport.
And then your role into presenting, because it seems we were speaking a little bit off camera. It seems like you've sort of crossed over into the wider public. Because as I was saying, my mum like doesn't really like sport, but she knows who you are. And that's something that you've sort of cultivated through how you've sort of presented yourself. So when did like that interest in presenting stem from?
I mean, the interest. I didn't want to be a presenter. That wasn't my intention. No, no. I wanted to be a translator. So I studied languages and translating, and I went to uni in Spain and did my degree over there. So it wasn't my intention. I just kind of fell into that path a little bit. But I guess same as boxing, live TV has like a special buzz about it that once you're in it, it's hard not to want to be in it. So I was working as a translator at a TV station in Germany, and that was how I ended up coming into presenting. To what you said about how like it crossed over a little bit, kind of maybe outside of sports, I think that's just CBS do a really good job with our clips. Social media is huge now. And I would say far more people know like the show that we do and laugh along with it and enjoy the clips than people actually watch the full show and like a full pregame or a full postgame, because it's not accessible to most people because it's in America. It's only shown on American TV, but social media you can watch anywhere, and CBS do a good job of making sure that it's visible.
You mentioned you wanted to become a translator, and then you sort of fell into presenting. At what point in your presenting journey did you feel like this is what I want to do, and sort of because I guess you've used the translating skills to your advantage, because I've seen like you've interpreted interviews into different languages. So yeah, at what point in that journey did you think, okay, this is what I want to do full time?
First day, probably. Yeah, I think so. I mean, my journey into it was weird. I was asked to do a casting at the German TV station I was in because they needed people who they knew could write the scripts, translate the scripts, because often they translated content from one language to another. Wanted somebody who was familiar with all of that, and I already was. I was there as an intern, working as translating as an intern. And they did the casting, and then they offered me the job, and they gave me a day's training of how to do TV. And then they put me on TV, and so it was rolling news. So we did a sports bulletin like every hour on the hour for 15 minutes, and like I said, there's something that is so cool about live TV that gives me whatever it is that athletes get from being in a fight, like that adrenaline rush that I think that athletes thrive off of. There's something about live TV that gives you that too. And so it's just like an addictive thing that I think anybody who does it really enjoys it. Hey, good to see you. Good to see you.
Are you okay?
Husband, yes, I'm good.
I'm gonna leave my stuff in just immediately.
Yes, baby, do it.
All right, everything's good.
Everything's good.
Good.
I
How you
love
doing?
I'm all good, thank you. How are you? Okay, so
Sorry.
oh, it's all right. Don't worry, it's all right. It's the thrills of like live stuff. Okay, and then what was your role starting off in the present?
Hosting the news bulletin, basically. So it was just kind of, I'm trying to think of what, it would be like on Sky News. Like I haven't watched Sky News in years, but I'm sure they do like a sports kind of insert into there where they'll do like all the headlines across like a multitude of sports. So obviously I was in Germany, so it was a lot of Bundesliga, but it was also Formula One and whatever else was interesting, American sports. And then I moved over from there I went to CNN, and I was doing the same thing. it was like rolling news. It took me quite a while to get to a point where I was doing like live football coverage or live boxing, like just focused on one sport rather than just like a multitude of sports.
Was there any skills that you picked up on that you translated into you doing live sport? Like, were there any lessons that you took from doing the online bulletin to then being thrusted into the limelight of live sport?
Yeah, I think anything that is live television is always about thinking quickly, thinking on your feet, not being tied to a format necessarily. Because, I mean, things can go to plan and you can, stick to a format. But I think, especially now doing like CBS and the Champions League, one of the things that we do well is we don't stick to format. We'll go off piste often. Um, and it's my job to try and keep some kind of structure going in that. But I think the more you do any type of live scenario, you're used to working under time pressure. You're used to rolling with stuff that happens that's unexpected or that isn't ideal, and that's all stuff that you can use whatever type of live TV you're doing.
Perfect. And do you know when you started, like, did you leverage social media, or is that something that you maybe wish you had done when you started?
Terrible at social media, really bad at social media. No, I remember everybody had a Twitter account, and for a minute I got a Twitter account. I haven't been on Twitter or X in however long. Uh, Instagram is the only one I do use. I'm like too old for Snapchat or whatever else, TikTok. I don't think I'm great on it. I use it here and there. I get to repost a lot of the stuff that CBS put up. Malik is great at posting, so I get to repost a bunch of his stuff. But I don't think I haven't personally leveraged it well, but I've been the beneficiary of the networks I work for leveraging it well, which is CBS.
Awesome. And then from when you started to now, how have you seen the sort of the I guess the way in which like news and live sport has changed the viewing habits? Is that something that you've sort of taken like into doing the presenting as well?
Yeah, I mean, I guess sports is one of the things that viewing habits haven't changed entirely, and that it's still appointment TV. There's not a lot of things that are still appointment TV anymore. I grew up at a time where you had to watch it when it went out on TV, otherwise you missed it. That's not the case with a lot of television nowadays. We'll binge watch series whenever we want, all of that. But sports is still that one thing that you want to see when it happens, as it happens, because you don't want everybody else to already know what happened. You don't want to know the outcome before it happens. So I think to some extent sports hasn't changed and is one of the few that hasn't changed in the television industry, but at the same time the social media aspect has changed massively. So a show like the Champions League one I do can feel very internationally known. I've been like in a hospital in France with my grandma, and doctors and nurses will come in and like say, "Oh, I love the show," blah blah blah, and you just kind of get that work because obviously it's a show that's really only targeting an American audience, but it's become internationally popular because the social media team is good at what they do and they choose the right clips to post and stuff. So the social media aspect has, and kind of like the international visibility aspect has changed, but I think the core of TV hasn't changed.
Perfect. And in your view, what makes a good presenter?
Uh, Authenticity, unflappability. So just an ability to stay calm under pressure. Because I think live TV is pressure, like pressure of time, pressure of dealing with like a multitude of different voices in your ear, whilst you're also trying to stay composed, smile, and lead other people on a show in a live scenario where things are changing last minute. Like it can be quite overwhelming in terms of what you have to deal with. So I think just an ability to kind of zone out a lot of chaos and pressure and stay calm in those moments, and enjoy yourself in those moments, to not feel too stressed by what are stressful situations, but just be able to like be authentic and have fun and enjoy yourself in those moments, because that's all that I want as a viewer, is to be able to watch something that doesn't feel uptight and that feels like I'm happy. That's my like relaxation time. I want to have a good time. You know what I mean?
And then for a young presenter coming through, what can they do to sort of elevate themselves, because it is quite a competitive field?
Yeah, I guess figure out what makes you different. For me, for a while, the languages thing was what made me different. I think and imagine that coming through now in media, like it's important to have a range of skills. I think it's this isn't something I have, by the way. Like I've not sat in all the different roles in a control room. I don't know what everybody does. I can't edit. But I think if you can bring a multitude of different capabilities to the role, if you can also be somebody who understands how everything comes together, I just think you're better at your job. If you understand what other people's jobs are in that scenario, you're probably also a better person because you're more understanding of the stresses that they're under. So I guess learn and absorb as many skills as you can and just figure out what makes you you. I think in TV as well as anything, you can get so much feedback about what you did well and what you didn't do well and what's good and what's not. And you can end up trying to mutate into a different version of yourself to please other people. But really the only thing that ever I think really resonates with people is when you're being yourself and when they can see that you're being yourself.
Awesome. Final couple, because I know you've got other commitments. You've presented boxing, you've done football as well. What are the main differences between the two? Or are there any differences, would you say?
Yeah, I mean, I've done like major games in football, like World Cup finals, Champions League finals, all of that. I still think the drama level around boxing is just different because there's no lives at stake in football. Everybody's going to live to see the next day. You never know what's going to happen in a boxing ring. So that level of danger increases the level of intrigue and kind of drama around it. So to me, there's just as good as a football crowd can be, a boxing crowd is kind of insane to me. What that feels like live in an arena when something happens. And other than that, I guess with boxing, you have an undercard and you'll have a multitude of fights and you'll get to kind of accompany the fans throughout the whole night and navigate through that with them. Whereas with football game, you're doing an hour lead up to a game, the game kicks off, it's played for 90 minutes, and then you're back at the end of that. So I kind of enjoy the in and out and I love getting to know like all the different fighters on the undercard and kind of following everybody's journey. That's kind of like a cool thing in boxing to me, that you get to go through the whole night with everybody.
Awesome. And then just final question on this card. Moses Tama, Jermaine Franklin, but you're here for Ezra Taylor.
Yes, I
How highly do you think he can go in the sport? And he's got a tough test in the form of Willie Hutchinson.
It's a tough test, but I think it's a test he's very much up to, and I think you guys will see that on Saturday night. Him and Malik have worked so hard in camp. Obviously, camp was longer for everybody because of the postponement to the card with the injury in the main event originally, but I just think to see the development in Ezra as a fighter from fight to fight has been super exciting. I think, oftentimes you need to take a step up in opponent to be able to show the very best of yourself, and I think that's what you'll get to see on Saturday.
Perfect. Kate, thank you. Keep doing what you're doing because you're doing a really good job.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.